From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. President Tinubu meets with security chiefs, charges armed forces to step up efforts at ending insecurity. Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, identifies education as one of the many factors to end poverty and hunger in Africa. Russia and Ukraine reached deal to swap 1,000 prisoners of war each in first direct talks since both nations went to war.
In business, federal government launches online portal to streamline citizenship applications and business services to enhance transparency.
And in sports, countdown to the 22nd National Sports Festival begins as ceremonial touch finally lands in host Borno State.
Tonight begins now. Thank you for joining us. President Bola Tinubu held a high-level security meeting with service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police at the State House on Friday. The closed-door session came ahead of his scheduled departure to Rome, where he will attend the inauguration Mass of Pope Leo XIV, following a formal invitation from the Vatican. The agenda of the meeting was not initially made public, but it centered on insecurity in the country, especially after recent attacks on military bases and the surge in insecurity across various parts of the country. Present at the meeting were the Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, and the Chief of Naval Staff, as well as the Inspector General of Police. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says there is no education, invariably there will be poverty. He made this known as media mogul Dele Momodu marked his 65th birthday with the Dele Momodu Leadership Lecture in Lagos, which has as its theme, How to End Hunger and Poverty in Africa. News Central's correspondent Israel Ferobo reports.
The Dele Momodu Foundation hosted its annual Dele Momodu Leadership Lecture in Lagos with the theme, How to End Hunger and Poverty in Africa. This year's keynote speaker, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, challenged African leaders to seek knowledge to end the scourge.
You do not have the knowledge, the empowerment in terms of education. You are handicapped as an individual, as a family, as a community, as a nation, and even as a continent. Where there is no education, invariably there will be poverty. And where there is poverty, there will be hunger.
The former president also advised on the way forward for the continent to end poverty and hunger.
With education must be character, morality, and great attributes inculcated into everyone in the community, the society, and the nation. In such a group of people, or among such people, everyone is everyone else's brother, friend, sister, keeper, in an inclusive society where there is caring and sharing.
Other dignitaries in attendance include Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State and the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, who called on everyone to be patriotic to break the cycle of hunger and poverty.
Growing up, I used to think, is there anything fundamentally wrong with a black man? Today is still a question I'm trying to decipher. To end poverty and hunger, It's in the hands of you and I. And it's about time for us to be serious. If we want to break poverty in this country, let us be patriotic.
The event was a blend of reflection, celebration, and a call to action, reminding stakeholders of the urgent need for collective solutions to hunger and poverty across the continent.
Happy birthday to you.
In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Ifirobo.
Nigerian election watchdog Yaga Africa and Public Accountability Advocacy Group, Enough is Enough, have raised an alarm ahead of local government elections slated to take place in Lagos in July. The coalition said the process adopted by the Lagos State Independent Election Commission raises what it described as legal, procedural, and transparency concerns, which must be immediately reviewed to avoid a wholesale violation of the election laws in Nigeria. In a statement issued on Thursday, the groups highlighted for immediate review violation of section on 103 subsection 3 of the Electoral Act, which states that elections must be held not earlier than 150 days and not later than 30 days before the expiration of the tenure of sitting officials, among other issues. To discuss the issues raised by political stakeholders ahead of the local government elections in Lagos, let's now bring in the national chairman of the Nigeria's Inter-Party Advisory Council, Yusuf Dantale, as well as chairman of the Action Alliance Party, Kainde Adebulwe. Good to have you both on the news tonight. I will start with you, Chairman. Let's look at the issues raised in the letter. They were quite far-reaching. There are allegations of lack of transparency, that the Lagos Independent Election Commission isn't even speaking with those of you, political parties that are directly involved in the process. Is this true?
Good evening.
The question is to the chairman, sir.
Hello?
Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council. My question is for you, Mr. Yusuf.
Yeah, I'm responding already.
All right, go ahead.
I said, yeah, good evening and thank you for having me. The position of the Party Advisory Council of Nigeria has been known, not for now, because if you talk about democracy, you are talking of inclusivity, and at whatever level there is attempt deliberately and or otherwise to exclude any section of society, democracy is injured. What we have in form of local government election across Nigeria is nothing close to minimum standard of democratic practices. It is a mockery of democracy. It is ridiculous. It is not just about what is happening in Lagos today, but what is happening across board, apart from the election conducted at the federal capital level, which is at the FCT area council conducted by INEC. So our position has been clear. The setting up of State Independent Electoral Commission. We are advocating that it should be scrapped and the election at the local government level should be taken over by INEC. And these things, we are taking it very lightly. We do not know the multiplier negative effect that it has on socioeconomic situations across the board. Local government is supposed to be the government that's closer, the third tier government which is closer to the people, and it is expected that development ought to be attracted to the people. But ironically, what we have is more of a nation of leadership of local government by the governors in power. Okay, for instance, look, let's take APC for instance. In Kano, the national chairman of APC is from Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. NNPP is in charge of Kano today. Is the governor of Kano State is NNPP, product of NNPP. But in the last local government election in Kano, if you do your findings, you know that the chairman of the APC, who just left as the governor of Kano, did not win the councillor in his ward. He didn't win his local government. The current deputy speaker, deputy.
Okay, so I'm trying to.
It is ridiculous. So we have to be serious and be sincere with what we are doing when we talk about democracy. Okay,
we wanted to establish that. Let's come to you, Kainde. How is the current LOG election timetable at variance with the Electoral Act, as you know it, especially regarding the time between the end of tenure of currently serving local government chairmen and councillors, which is due to end on July 27?
Having me. I call this basically like a shotgun wedding, where we are forced to enter a marriage that we are not ready for. The timing is short, and they are not following exactly what the law says. There should be a window of nothing less than 30 days and earlier than 150 days. But they are not following that law at all. So we are rushed into this marriage, and most of us are not even fully prepared. There's a short time for collecting nomination forms. There's a short time to do your primaries. It is so short. And we are complaining, but we are not looking back. We will face this challenge. We cannot be said to be shying away from our responsibilities to the people.
All right, let me interject and ask you, there is also one grave issue, the concealment of a revised LISEC law, reportedly approved on January 9 and signed into law the very next day, empowering LISEC to conduct elections in 57 LG and LCDAs without making it public or accessible to political actors. How could that even be?
Yes, Yes, it was merely done in secrecy. You do not let the public understand what you have amended, and you just put it out there and force it on. It's called subtle intimidation. You just chuck it down our throats and expect us to just go with it. It is a problem. I call it subtle intimidation. They are just pushing us to the wall and saying you must go ahead and do. Look, local government elections and councillorship elections are at the cellular level of our democracy. If we do not get it right, we cannot get the top right, because this is where we touch the lives of the people directly. And if we are not prepared for it, then our politics is in trouble.
Okay, is there any possibility? Let me even go to Yusuf and ask. There's another major legal issue, and that's the status of the 37 local council development areas. And if LISEC has the authority to conduct elections there, after the Supreme Court ruling, what should be the position of LISEC in this matter? And I just wanted to chip that in. Is it possible for LISEC to retrace its step at this hour?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Yusuf, you didn't get my question?
Okay, Yusuf, okay.
Me?
Yes, Yusuf, I called your name when I had the question.
Sorry, what did you say?
Okay, so there's another legal matter, and that has to do with the LCDAs, and if LISEC has the authority to conduct elections, they're taking into a consideration the Supreme Court ruling. What should be, rather, the position of LISEC in this matter?
I do not have the details of the Supreme Court judgment on what you are saying, so it will be unfair to me to comment on what I don't have in-depth knowledge about. But my position, which is the position of the Party Advisory Council, about what is happening across board in respect of local government election, that is just as simple and straightforward.
All right, let's leave that question then and just...
It's nothing compared to
Perhaps you'll be able to respond to this one that I have, and it has to do with the consideration if LISEC would be able to review and revise the electoral date to comply with the Electoral Act 2022. What happens if they don't and insist that the process must go on? Yusuf, I'm staying with you.
I'm not hearing you. It's breaking. My network is having issues.
Okay, Kehinde, did you get my question?
I didn't pick it well. It's also breaking here.
Okay, I'll repeat myself. I'm asking, LISEC is, everybody's saying that they are flouting the law. Is there a possibility that they will listen and reverse their action, or they insist on going ahead with the process as scheduled for July? What would be your options?
Look, whatever they decide to do, we are standing on one thing. They should be transparent, they should be honest, and they should be collaborative with the political parties. They should let us go ahead and come out, do our elections, and be transparent and fair about it. That is what matters. Look, they have done some stakeholder meetings across Lagos State, which is very good, fantastic, sensitizing the political parties in different areas, which is very good. They should go ahead and pass that message across all local governments and make us have our free and fair elections, starting from monitoring of the primaries to the election day proper. That is what we want.
Yusuf, let me ask you this. There's a lot of concern that it has been expressed and people are talking, but we know that it is Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu that appointed members of the commission. Does it behoove him to get them to respect the mandates that they have signed on? Do you think he will intervene and address some of the concerns that you have? Yusuf, did you get my question? Okay, I think we're having technical, audio challenges. So, Kehinde.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, could you take on the question? I'm asking, do you think the governor can intervene in this matter, since he was the one that swore these men these people into the commission?
Well, the only thing the governor can do is to give them that mandate to make sure the elections are free and fair, to make sure they monitor elections properly, and they allow our votes to count. You see, we have to have faith in the system. This system that he has built, this system that he has put there, the people he has put there, he should mandate them to do the right thing. That's what we ask for. We are ready to challenge for these positions. We're ready to come out, we're ready to elect, we're ready to do everything.
All right.
But
let's
give us a pure...
All right. The network is really making this conversation tacky. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tonight returns after this break. Just stay with us. You're watching Tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. President Tinubu meets with security chiefs, charges armed forces to step up efforts at ending insecurity. Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, identifies education as one of the many factors to end poverty and hunger in Africa. Russia and Ukraine reached deal to swap 1,000 prisoners of war each in first direct talks since both nations went to war. It was a sad day in Borno State, where 3 persons were confirmed dead and several others injured following stampede during the humanitarian cash disbursement exercise organized by the International Committee of the Red Cross and UNICEF in Bama, Borno State. Eyewitnesses say the stampede occurred on Thursday at the Kasugula Primary School, one of the designated payment centers in Bama. Beneficiaries had gathered to receive a flat cash assistance of 28,500. The situation reportedly went out of control as the crowd surged towards the school gates, resulting in a stampede. The deceased have since been released to their families for burial in accordance with Islamic rites, while the injured have been hospitalized. It is the commemoration of the International Day of the Boy Child, and Nigerians have been tasked to commit to the growth, well-being, and development of the boy child into future leaders. This was among the submissions at the Premier Academy in the nation's capital, Abuja. News Center's correspondent Aishat Salihi reports.
The school environment has been identified as a key area where not only academic excellence can be achieved, but fundamental to providing support to shape the moral upbringing of the boy child to be socially responsible. Other key support structures include the family and government, which can play special roles in championing the concerns and well-being of the boy child.
If you're able to train them now, definitely they'll be a better person in the future. So that is the whole essence of this program. We have a committee dedicated to this purpose. We call it a Boys Child Committee. As we have this, we also have for the girls. So talking about the overall development of the boy child and the girl child.
We need to continue to do more to create access to education, health, and social well-being so that children can grow, particularly boys, to their full potential. So this is what is important. There is no how you attempt to achieve your goal without facing challenges. But those challenges, sometimes will attempt to weigh you down. The most important thing is not being weighed down, overcoming those challenges.
The guest speaker at this event to commemorate the International Day of the Boy Child, the managing director and editor-in-chief of award-winning television station News Central Television, Kayode Akintemi, while mentoring the students on developing self-esteem, charged them to rise up to the challenges and remain resilient.
Even as the best, you still have room for improvement. So you have to keep standing, keep rising, keep going for the position that makes you to retain that position of being the best. So it's very important, and I give them 3 words: character, competence, and capacity. I give them an assignment. I said they should do their research on it, and they will realize that these are the key things that will help to shape you as a leader for the future.
Some of the students say mentoring can play a significant role in their development.
I make sure that I will work on myself better. I will not be as sluggish as I used to be. I'm going to be more agile. I'm going to respect my elders. I'm going to look at myself in the mirror every morning and say that I can do it in my life.
While provision of support systems, a conducive environment, and the guidance to thrive are measures that can help prepare the boy child for the challenges of life, the society has been tasked to give them a chance to explore their full potential in becoming change makers and nation builders. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Staying with the International Day of the Boy Child, stakeholders in Abuja have called on the federal government to focus on boys' development, education, and the protection of their mental well-being. News Center's correspondent Joshua Imari reports from the federal capital.
Every May 16, the world turns its attention to the boy child, an often overlooked figure in conversations around child development. In Nigeria, boys face a unique mix of challenges, from peer pressure to societal demand to appear emotionally strong, to high school drop rates and exposure to street life.
And I feel concerned for them because we are not really talking about them, and I think they need our attention, But the society is not paying much attention to boys' child.
For many communities, raising a boy is still tied to outdated ideas of masculinity.
Every citizen of this country believes that in every culture, that a boy's child is more preferable than a female child. Otherwise, thinking of maybe he'll be the one to take over from the parents if the parents are gone, it gives the boy giving a lot of pressure that makes him sometimes you see him start losing steps.
While experts identify schools as key players in the boy child's development, some say many boys struggle with poor academic performance, bullying, and societal expectation that label emotional reactions as weaknesses.
If you go to schools now, when they are doing prize giving day, you notice that girls are really taking the lead. They are taking the lead academically, and we need to pay more attention to boy children because they are going to grow up to be people's fathers. And those girls that are doing very well in the society, the boys are still coming to be their husbands.
As the Federal Ministry of Youth Development in Abuja commemorated the day, stakeholders at the ministry say it is time for deliberate investment in the well-being of the boy child. They say programs that promote emotional intelligence, mental health support, mentorship, and responsible fatherhood training are needed for their development.
We believe that every boy child deserved to have a quality mentorship regardless of their backgrounds and economic status. Therefore, this initiative that is coming like this, we can provide our boy children with the support they need to succeed. We can help them to develop the skills and value they needed to become the responsible and being productive to the society.
As Nigeria celebrates the boy child, the message is clear. Boys are not just future leaders, they are children that must be protected, supported, and heard. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Let's go to Delta State, where the police command has rescued a 5-month-old baby boy who was abducted 2 months earlier after his mother was drugged during a journey from Koko to Warri. The State Commissioner of Police, Olufemi Abaniwanda, disclosed this at a press briefing in Asaba. On the command's recent achievements, News Center's correspondent Austin Hazel completes the story.
In the last few weeks, Delta State residents have complained about the increasing security challenges, particularly kidnapping and armed robbery, which likely questioned the ability of the security services in the state. Here, the Delta State Police Commissioner gives an update on the command's stride in tackling crime.
The command is tackling the menace of kidnapping with all available resources to ensure that we arrest and prosecute these hoodlums disturbing the peace in Delta.
The CP also provided details on the recovery of a 2-month boy who was stolen from its parents.
The mother was drugged and the child trafficked. And about 2 months after the child was taken, we were able to recover the child and return the child back to his parents. The child is safe, but again, this madam seems to be somebody who buys and sells children.
The parents of the child narrate their own deal.
So on one Tuesday market day, she went to the market and she joined the woman, and the woman told her that she stay at Warri, she has pregnant and she have children, but her husband have already late. So she one person that stay at Koko that will be helping her to buy some goods. She will send motor from Warri to come pack the goods from there to Warri. From there, my wife bring her come home. She can't explain the thing to me. She was explaining the thing and was crying. So I can't say, okay, no problem. As far as say she get money to do her own business, I will help her ask how much they sell some things, and also all those kind of things. From there, she they call us, come our place, build relationship with us. For one day, on the 16th of February, my wife went with her to know her place when she stay for Warri. From there, she drops my wife from there and take the baby away.
Now when I give pikin breast, she said me I too dey give pikin breast. I give pikin water, and I come ask her, she be I give pikin water inside motor, and not be now I'm not gonna give pikin water. Now breast I'll give pikin. She said no be so they do. We small children we not sabi anything. I give her the pikin, make she show me how they do. But I can't give her the pikin, say she give the pikin water. Now the water she give the pikin. Where I sit down put, now they sleep can't carry me.
Why the CP disclosed that the suspects arrested for various crimes will have their day in court, he urged residents of the states to remain vigilant and report suspicious behavior promptly. In Asaba for News Central, Austin Azu.
Many thanks, Austin, for that report. We're on a short break. We'll bring you more stories when we return. Stay with us. Away from our shores, let's tell you about the peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. There was one, and this is the first direct interaction since both nations went to war, which yielded a deal to swap 1,000 prisoners of war on each side. Both nations will now resume talks after they have each set out vision for a future ceasefire. But coming out of the highly anticipated talks in Istanbul, which lasted just more than 90 minutes, there were few signs of more significant progress towards ending the 3-year war. Kyiv was seeking an unconditional ceasefire to pause a conflict that has destroyed large swathes of Ukraine and displaced millions of people. Moscow has consistently rebuffed those calls, and the only concrete agreement appeared to be a deal to exchange 1,000 prisoners each. To discuss this, I'm joined by Alexander von Vugen. Some perspective on this dialogue and what it means for the future. The first direct talks since this war began with this deal. What would be your assessment of this first interaction? Successful or a stalemate?
Well, I think it was a lack of respect. Putin apparently didn't want to show up. He sent non-decision makers to the meeting. The only decision they seem to have been able to make is on a prison swap, which are not uncommon in conflict situations. Zelensky chose not to come because he was intimidated and didn't want to be humiliated by being left standing at the altar by himself. Of course, this is the first scheduled meeting. It did take place. It was with the Ministry of Defense from Ukraine and 3 representatives from Russia, which, like as I said earlier, are non-decision makers. It hopefully will set the tone to move further, but I think Russia's concessions and their demands are being heard through European partners of the Ukraine, saying they're unreasonable. Since 2014, at the initial invasion, Russia had invaded the Crimea and Luhansk area of Russia. In 2022, they invaded Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. One of their conditions for a ceasefire is that the Ukrainians move their troops out of these desired annexed areas, which is completely unreasonable in the eyes of the Ukrainians. So Europe is now looking at massive sanctions to apply to Russia in addition to the sanctions. I mean,
some would argue that the sanctions doesn't seem to be getting the right reaction. But let's stay with the talks. Going into the peace talk, the Ukrainian president had accused Russia of being unserious about making peace. His statement was premised on the caliber of delegation that Putin sent to Istanbul. How correct was his submission, considering that he also sent a representative, though he's defense minister?
Well, the defense minister certainly had a louder voice than the representatives from Russia. They couldn't even answer the question as to whether or not they were going to accept a ceasefire. They said they'll consider it. They had a report back to the boss. So I think until there's an actual meeting between the two leaders, Zelensky and Putin, we're going to edge towards progress. But it's also important to note, Russia recently had the May Day parade on the 10th in Russia, which is a celebration of the victory of the Second World War. And to concede or to give in or give the appearances of giving in during that time where they were hosting many other nations. By the way, all European nations boycotted attendance of that parade with the exception of Serbia and Slovakia. I think it will play out in the next few weeks. I'm sure Mr. Trump's input will also be important.
Well, what should we expect in the coming days after this first round of talks? I mean, there's talk about the potential of the president's meeting, but a lot of persons don't see that happening.
Well, as I said, it'll play out. I think if Mr. Trump interferes or gives his opinions, as he's certainly been very verbal in the past, it will have an effect. But until they agree to meet, and again, it's also important to note this was the first meeting in 3 years, so it was kind of a half-mast meeting. If it becomes a war of attrition now, to see how much either side is going to give in, I think that's part of the negotiation tactic.
All right, the prisoners swap deal. Quickly talk to us about the implications you see from this deal for the prospect, of ending the conflict for future diplomatic efforts. In fact,
it's certainly a good sign. It's better than no prisoner swap, and it shows a willingness to compromise a little bit. But it's a normal situation in war. Prisoner swaps are not restricted to this war. They're very common.
All right, Alexander, we'll have to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
My pleasure.
Business News is next when we return. The Perpetua joins me now for Business Update. What are we looking at tonight?
Well, the federal government has unveiled a new portal for faster citizenship and business management. But of course, you get the detail of this and more after this timeout. Has unveiled a new online citizenship and business management platform. This is according to a statement released by the ministry's permanent secretary, Magdalene Ajani, on Friday in Abuja. Ajani highlighted that the digital platform aims to simplify the application and processing of citizenship and business-related services, ensuring quicker turnaround times and an enhanced user experience. She further emphasized that the initiative is part of the ministry's ongoing reforms designed to foster transparency, boost operational efficiency, and significantly elevate service delivery to the public. The Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, has announced that the ministry has secured investment commitment exceeding $300 million. Speaking at the ministerial press briefing session on Friday in Abuja, Musawa underscored the government's ambition to generate at least 2 million jobs within the creative industry by 2027. According to the minister, the ministry was able to secure over $300 million in investment commitments and introduced innovative funding mechanisms, including the Creative Economy Development Fund, within 18 months. Nigerian oil firm Renaissance Energy has suspended production into the Trans-Niger Oil Pipeline, an essential conduit transporting crude from onshore oil fields to the Borno Export Terminal following an operational incident. An environmental rights group reported on Thursday that the pipeline ruptured on May 6, causing an oil spill in the Bidere community of Ogoniland, marking the second such occurrence in 2 months. The Trans-Niger Pipeline, with a capacity of approximately 450,000 barrels per day, is one of 2 critical pipelines responsible for exporting bonylite crude from Nigeria. And now to the stock market. The domestic equities market extended its positive momentum this week, marking the 4th consecutive week of gains. Now, specifically, the all-share index advanced by 0.9% week over week. Now, stocks like NNFM, which went up 32.5%, and Better Glass, which went up 46.3%, delivered impressive weekly gains, building on their already triple-digit returns for the year. And now let's take a look at this. This is for Friday's trading. We can see it's up 22 basis points, and then all-share index 109,710.37. Market capitalization is very close to 69 trillion naira. Is that going to happen next week? Well, time will tell. And now let's take a look at the sectoral performance. For sector performance this Friday, the market saw another round of optimism with interest across key sectors lifting the all-share index. Now let's begin with the banking sector. We can see it's up 44 basis points, and we cannot ignore Access Corporation's impressive showing today. And apart from that, you have insurance, which is also up 110 basis points. That's for the insurance sector. And of course, this is the biggest winner for the day. Away from that, let's go to the only loser, you can say the sole loser for the day, which is the oil and gas sector, which is down 9 basis points. And you have consumer goods right there, up 46 basis points as the second best performer. And finally, we have the industrial goods, which of course is also up 43 basis points. And that's all for England Business tonight. I am Perpetua Fasoni Peter. Tonight continues.
I have favor now for the latest in the world of sports. What's the schedule like for the Super 6 tomorrow?
Well, the Super 6 is buzzing. We have teams preparing to be crowned champions. Of course, that goes down in Ikene on Saturday. Many more after this timeout. The final 3 matches of the Super 6 will kick off simultaneously at 3 p.m. on Saturday at Borno State Stadium in Ikene. In an unprecedented scenario, 4 teams, Nasarawa Amazons, Edo Queens, Bayelsa Queens and Remo Stars Ladies head into the final day with a realistic chance of winning the league title, marking one of the closest title races in the NWFL Premiership history. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Women Football League has confirmed a total prize of 24.5 million naira for the ongoing 2025 NWFL Super 6. According to the breakdown, the eventual champions will be earned 10 million naira, maintaining the standard of the past 2 editions. Now, the runners-up will earn 6 million naira, while the third place team gets 4 million naira, and both representing a 1 million naira increase from last season. The bottom 3 teams will each receive 1.5 million naira, an increment from 500,000 naira last season. Away from football, the touch of unity for the 22nd National Sports Festival arrived in Ogun State after touring all 36 states and the FCT. At the City Gate reception, Governor Dapo Abiodun emphasized unity and urged Nigerian youth to embrace the festival as a platform for sportsmanship and national development. Over 15,000 athletes will compete across individual and team events, with 2,150 medals up for grabs in 549 competitions. Tagged Gateway Games 2024, the national multi-sports event, will take place from Friday, May 16th to Thursday, May 30th. The opening ceremony is set for Sunday, May 18th at the MKO Abiola International Stadium in Abeokuta. Away from there, still talking, of course, the National Sports Festival. Members of the Lagos State contingent traveling to the 22nd National Sports Festival in Ogun State survived a bus accident earlier today. The incident occurred as the team was en route to Abeokuta for the festival, which commenced on May 16th and is scheduled to run until May 30th, 2025. One of the buses in the convoy reportedly encountered difficulties that led to the accident. Emergency services responded promptly, and all athletes and officials were safely evacuated, and subsequent medical evaluations confirmed that there were no fatalities. Away from there now to women's football, Nigeria's Falconets will kick off their 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifying campaign with a second-round clash against Rwanda. Nigeria drawn directly into the second round due to their strong record of 44 wins and 3 draws in previous qualifiers will face Rwanda, who edged Zimbabwe 2-1 on aggregate in the first round. The first leg will be played in Kigali on Thursday, the 18th of September, with a return match in Nigeria on Saturday, the 27th of September. This marks the first ever Under-20 meeting between the two nations. Africa has 4 qualification spots for the tournament, which take place in Poland. And to wrap up sports update, Emmanuel Kounde, a key member of the 1990 Cameroon side that became the first African team to reach the World Cup quarterfinal, has died at the age of 68, the country football governing body announced on Friday. Kounde also played at the 1982 World Cup in Spain, where Cameroon made their debut appearance and was in the winning team when the indomitable Lions won the African Cup of Nations in both 1984 and 1988. He took the penalty that decided the 1988 Cup of Nations final against Nigeria in Casablanca and also scored from the spot in a dramatic 3-2 loss to England in Naples in the last 8 of the 1990 World Cup. And that wraps it up on Sports Update, and Favor Itua tonight continues.
Otherwise, here with me in the studio for the latest entertainment stories. What are we looking at?
Well, you know how it is. Every time we're talking about Afrobeats, we always celebrate our own. And King Madi is making us proud, but I'm going to bring you up the details shortly.
All right.
All right, to jump right into entertainment. Nigerian rising star King Madi has earned a coveted spot on the Billboard's 2025-21 Under 21 list, a prestigious ranking that highlights the most promising young artists shaping the future of music. Known for her soulful sound and breakout hits like American Love and Vision, King Madi joins an elite group of global talents making waves before turning 21. Huge stuff. Her inclusion marks a significant milestone not just for her career, but also for Africans' representation on the global music stage. Big ups to King Madi, and yes, we're always here for it. Now, what happened yesterday? Chris Brown has been remanded in custody until 13th June by the judge in Manchester. Remember, we talked about Chris Brown last night. R&B singer Chris Brown has been charged with allegedly causing grievous bodily harm with intent following an incident at Tape nightclub in central London in February 2023. He is accused of attacking music producer Abraham Dwar with a bottle, then continuing the assault by punching him and kicking him as well, an act reportedly captured on CCTV. Now, during a hearing at Manchester Magistrate Court, his case was deemed too serious for the local court and was transferred to Southwark Crown Court for a plea and trial preparation hearing on June 13th. Now, Chris Brown, who was arrested in Manchester, has not entered the plea, was denied bail. Now, the case could impact his upcoming global tour, which begins June 8th. Felicity, we spoke about Chris Brown last night.
He will be out.
Well,
before that date.
Before the date.
He's a celebrity. He has seen it before. Well, I'm just trying to be positive, but let the courts decide. He's just in custody. I'm sure he's eligible for bail. So that June 8th is still some weeks away.
So hopefully, maybe he'll be out before that time, because his fans will not want to hear that he's not coming. Well, that's all we have on entertainment tonight.
Finally, on tonight, as students retake the 2025 UTME examination due to JAMB's technical glitches, candidates expressed their concerns while hoping for better scores. Parents, however, call for an overhaul of the entire system due to the examination's rigorous processes. News centers of Molola Ololade visited one of the accredited JAMB centers in Lagos and filed in this report.
5 UTME patiently waiting to retake their examinations in one of the accredited JAMB centers in Lagos. While some students who were waiting to sit for the examination at the scheduled time, others who sat for the exam earlier in the day commended JAMB for improving on the technical glitches as they hope for a better score this time.
This one was okay, there was no glitch. At least on the last one, my questions were not complete. And this one, my questions are complete. They're free and were easy.
I think the exam also was easier. It was made much better and according to everyone's liking. And I think I read the exam out of a 5-star 4.5. Because previously when I saw my score, I was like, no, this is not my score, this is not my score. But now I know I will make it up to 200 and something, 200 and above. Or probably 300 also.
So when I received my results a few days back, I realized that my scores were not what I felt it was going to be. So I was disheartened, I was feeling bad, but now that I've rewritten the exam, I feel a bit better and I feel a bit confident that I'm going to do better now. Thank you.
Some of the parents present at the JAMB center expressed their dissatisfaction towards the examination body, emphasizing that the entire process of writing the exam is a rigorous one for the candidate, hence an overhaul of the entire system.
This 6:30 is too early for you to wake up 5 o'clock. Some like one girl, she missed her paper today because of the 6:30. She said before she could receive the message, it was late, and she's coming from far. She have to miss that exam. It's not good. They should do something about it.
A rigorous procedure for somebody to wake up as early as before 6, and you are coming for an exam. Then, irrespective of the transport situation in Lagos and others. So I think it's cumbersome. I don't cherish it. They should review the process.
About this jam, it's not funny at all. It's not funny. It's so stressful. So stressful. And the time they gave us was too short. I beg, even the children said they're frustrated, they're tired. Most of them are writing WAEC now. Some that have paper have to leave their Greek today to come and write the jam. And the time they gave is too short. And many said might not even know that they are writing it.
At least 379,997 candidates across the country are affected by the technical error, while approximately 206,610 candidates in 65 centers in Lagos State are participating in the 2025 UTME receipt. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola.
And that's all the news we have for you tonight. But before we go, a quick reminder of our top stories. President Tinubu has met with security chiefs and charged armed forces to step up efforts at ending insecurity. Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has identified education as one of the many factors to end poverty and hunger in Africa. Off our shores, we told you that Russia and Ukraine have reached a deal to swap 1,000 prisoners of war each in first direct talks since both nations went to war. I would like to hear from you. Please send your eyewitness report to the number showing now on your screen. We will receive your messages as well if you find us on social media with the handle @NewsCentralTV. You can watch live on DSTV channel 422. We're on GoTV channel 23. Star Times, you'll find us at 274 on Avo TV and on YouTube. Thank you for watching tonight. See you next.